Well, hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. It's 4th of January 2022. Happy New Year to you all and to all my subscribers. Thank you for your support. We're at another review video. Today we're in Vietnam, and you're looking at Buon Thuot, Victor Bravo Mike. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly, and I probably will make plenty of mispronunciations, for which I apologise. The scenery by Dominic Design Team. That was not too long ago, just released late last year, and is available from Sim Market. The download size is 976 meg, and it installs into the community folder at 977 meg. So reasonably good size scenery, and preliminary investigations. They've done a reasonable amount of work on it. Looks quite nice. There are a couple of issues that we'll go through as I go through this review, and but no, it looks a nice little scenery. It's a stone's throw from Thailand and from Hong Kong, so some nice Asian flights for you. Scenery is from Dominic Design Team. It's available from Sim Market. The price is €14.40, which equates to $16.26, or £12.05 UK. Those prices include tax. The tax VAT will obviously vary depending on which country you make your purchase from. As I said, it's available from Sim Market now. We'll start with a little bit of history for you. Buon Thuot Airport, Victor Bravo Mike, is a public use airport located near the provincial capital Buon Thuot in Da Lac province in south central Vietnam. The airport's also known as Phung Duc, which sounds really nice, and the airport itself lies at an elevation of 1,736 feet or 529 meters, so it's reasonably high above sea level. The town of Buon Thuot is located 2.7 miles or 4.3 kilometers west of the airport. Ho Hoa Cua Cup Lake can be seen just south of the runway 09 threshold, and there you can see it there. And there's also a river that runs from it and runs past the threshold to runway 27 there. The airport has one main functional runway. There is a second incomplete runway marked with a faded 27 white, which is not in use, and you can see what looks like part of it here, where they started to think about building it. There are two aprons located to the south side of the airport with two buildings. One is the main terminal, equipped with 5 parking spots, and you can see that here. These are your parking spots. And the other building appears to be the main fire station with a fire control tower located at the western end of the building, and that's this one here. I've had a good look at it previous to this review, and I'm pretty certain that it is the fire control tower. It's not any other terminal. It has the watchtower on the top, and here's the main control tower building, which is located east of the main terminal. There is information about a barracks-like camp located to the north side of the airport, but it isn't modelled, and to be honest I can't find any evidence of it on Google Maps when I look at the place in detail. The airport is currently served by 4 airlines: Bamboo Airways, Pacific Airways, Vietjet Air, which is their low-cost carrier, and Vietnam Airlines, which is the national carrier. In 2015 the airport handled over 860,000 passengers. Buon Thuot is UTC plus 7 hours, as is Cambodia and Thailand, and they don't have daylight saving time, so basically when the UK goes on to DST, that reduces by 1 hour. As previously stated, the airport has a single runway 0927, which is 9,843 feet long or 3,000 meters, and is made from asphalt. Runway 09 is ILS equipped and features high intensity runway lighting system and precision approach path indicators. Although the PAPIs, precision approach path indicator, are actually missing from this scenery. We'll look at that later. Runway 27 has a VOR only approach option, and the runway also has precision approach path indicators, but again these are missing from the scenery. The high intensity approach light system is in the scenery for runway 09, but it's also in the scenery for 27, and 27's not equipped with high intensity approach light system. So Dominic design team have done a really nice job, and we'll have a look at the main terminal and everything, but unfortunately they've got the nav aids wrong. The VOR is in the right place, but unfortunately they've equipped runway 27 with facilities that it doesn't have, and as I say, the PAPIs are also missing at both ends, which really, according to the charts, are there. The other main thing to note is the main road that leads from the airport out onto the main Naigan-Lorong-Bung highway is there, but they've not done it. As you can see, they've tarmacked the landside area of the airport here, and you've got your presumably what appear to be either security gates or some kind of barrier system that leads into the airport, possibly for security purposes, maybe for parking purposes. And you can just about see the road that goes out of the airport, but it would have been nice if they cleaned this up a bit and you could see it. So essentially, as far as I'm concerned, that's missing, which is one of the things that kind of let the scenery down, really. But there you go. It looks quite nice. First impressions, it looks really quite nice. So let's get down and dirty and have a close look at the terminal and the facilities, and have a look at the different times of day. So it's just after midday here on the ramp at the airport, and here we are on the airside, one of the airside stands looking at the main terminal. You've got two fire trucks there on the right, plus a fuel tanker. The inside of the terminal has been developed, not substantially, but it has. They've done some work on it, so we'll have a look at that. The apron, as you can see, has been quite nicely done. They've got the markings correct. A little bit of weathering on the ramp there too. Not sure that aircraft should be there, but there you go. And they're looking at the other direction. That building, I'm pretty certain, is the fire station control. The inside of the building hasn't been developed, but you can see from the outside. It does look quite nice. And here is the fire control tower. So I'm pretty certain this other building is the fire station. So we're going to have a close look at the terminal. As you can see, looking inside the glass, looks quite nice, very effective. There's a stairwell that goes up to the upper level. And there's another view on the outside of the building. And you've got the fire blanket thing here, and a couple of access doors, presumably to electrical panels. There's a stairwell going up. And there's the same stairwell from inside the building looking out onto the main ramp. So here we are inside the terminal airside, and there's the top of the stairwell we just looked at, and looks quite nice. The flooring is good. The illusion here of the shops is quite nice. These could have been sharper, really. They're pretty low resolution images, but they're okay. Decals here are on the wrong way round, unfortunately, which is a pity. If we look at the other side there, you can see the decals are the right way round. They're correct. There's some interesting reflections on the glass there as we look out, which is a bit weird. So looking in that direction, you can see out of the glass, you can see the control tower here. Now here, if I go up close to the main glass here, you can't see very much outside on the ramp at all. There's some very, very strange reflections on this glass. But if we pop out through the glass, there's the ramp view that we should see from inside, but which we don't. So a little run airside across the main drag here. Again, you see low resolution images, and we've got a young lady sitting there. Again, you can see out of the windows to the side there to what you should be able to see. Landside, the reflections look a bit strange on the glass there, and they also look a bit strange on the glass there, looking airside. A very nicely detailed lady who seems to be the only passenger airside, unfortunately, but here you can see the seating is actually off the ground. This is a little anomaly that happens. I've seen it before, not often, but sometimes it happens in some sceneries. Usually they tend to correct it. So back to the lower level, there you go, you can see the stairway that we looked at earlier. Now we've just moved into sort of the landside bit. This seems to be an open space partition between the airside lower level and the landside lower level. So let's go through the wall. Yet another partition space. Okay, so this is the gap between the two sections of the terminal. So let's continue to landside through the wall. So here we are in the landside concourse, not much this way. And again, little or nothing here, but let's go through this wall. Again, we've got this open partition bit here. So we continue through the wall. And now we come to the departures area proper, which has been modelled ever so slightly. As you can see, there's enough detail here, looks quite nice. And unlike on the airside bit, mostly we can see out here and we get the correct landside view of the car park and the road. We still have this anomalous reflections at the top, really not sure what this is. We've got hands and arms here. Check-in desks, signage looks nice. Some of it's nice high resolution, some of it's a bit low here. Got the difference between the signs, but it looks quite nice. Very pleasant. And here the seating seems to be on the floor, which is good. So we'll move outside to the landside section and you'll see this anomalous imagery that they've got here. Really not sure where it comes from, but it does look a bit strange. So as we start to move out through the glass, you can see we've got landside, but we've got this pilot guy with seating, and there's this weird imagery which disappears the moment we get outside. So here's the landside section of the terminal. You've got the road here, some signage, all nice and crisp. The departure signage there is quite nice, it's very crispy when you go up close. Would have been nice to see some curbs and some cars here, although it does look very similar to what it's supposed to, having looked at some images on the net. Now I'm down the road looking towards the arrivals side. And there's the arrivals entrance. Again, we've got the arrivals and departures board there, which is quite crisp. And here you can see the wall that we went through earlier. A little bit of flickering here. So we just have a look at this area here. As I said, I'm pretty certain this is the fire station. It's not modelled inside, there are no fire trucks in it either. But it is complete, in other words it has the walls and a roof and a floor, but no interior modelling. There's the fire control tower. Again, it's not modelled inside. You've got the airside landside fencing here, which goes up towards where the trees are. And there we are looking towards the main terminal from landside. Again, the airside landside boundary fence is there with the appropriate warning sign to warn the public that this is restricted and they can't go there. So let's head out towards where the entrance road would be. So here you've got the entrance barriers to the airport. To me that looks like it's for parking purposes. You put your money in there, get a ticket and drive in, and you've got limited parking. Here you've got the main highway out of the airport that leads to the main highway, goes into the city. Got the two roads. It would have been nice to see this developed more. When you look at it from above, it looks like they've gone up to this place here and the airport stops. And the first thing I thought when I looked at it was, how do you get into the airport? Didn't realise that this was I knew where the road should be, having looked at Google Maps, but when you look at the scenery, this is quite difficult to see with all the trees, and of course it's not been developed. Had it been developed, you would have seen it straight away. So here we are, we go up a couple of 100 feet, looking at the highway, and you can see it's pretty difficult to see because it's not really developed in any way. You've got the trees and the foliage all over the place. Some of this is possibly lack of Bing data for this area, which shows the road. But it would have been nice possibly if the developers here had developed this road a bit more so that you could see. So that's looking back to the airport car park there. Let's have a look at the Landslide Car Park. So coming into this airport and paying for your parking ticket, this is the way you would come in. Light poles look really good. We'll have a look at the lighting in a minute. The car models are good quality. Palm trees look lovely. They make this airport come to life. And landside, it looks pretty nice. Very nice job on the landside area there. So all in all, that looks quite nice. There are a few little bits and pieces that could have been done better. Again, in some respects it looks like a sort of half a job has been done in some places. But you know, at the end of the day, it's entirely up to the developer to see how far they want to go. And my first impressions, really, the airport's nicely modelled. It has everything the pilot needs. Unfortunately, the puppies are missing from each end of the runway. That's a major problem. Something that probably needs to be corrected in an update, particularly if you plan to do low level or low light or dusk or night approaches to this airport. But all in all, the level of scenery is really quite nice. So let's have a look at what this airport looks like at dusk. Let's have a look at the lighting. So just after 5:30 local time, as you can see, the sun's all but gone down. Lighting's just about to come on. It looks very pleasant there. Nice touch there. You've got the flashing red light on top of the control tower. Landside area of the terminal looks well developed, and the terminal looks good. Let's go down and have a look. So straight away, good news is we've got these light stanchions here that are giving the right amount of light. The sources are correct and they're shining down at the right places. You still have these little orb globes, floating globes. This is, as I said, I've said in many reviews, that you find these in lots of sceneries. It's an Asobo thing. It doesn't look too good up close, but it does add extra lighting. So let's just close up on the terminal a little bit more. So that looks quite nice there. You can see inside the terminal, and the car park's fairly nicely lit there. So let's just go inside the terminal. Okay, you've got about the same brightness as we had during the day. Now there's interesting, you've got this partition that we came through before, and you can see the sunset outside of it. So looking landside through the glass, again we've got this anomaly that we had before with these weird reflections. and the seats are pretty dark as well. They're not actually lit. There's no apparent roof lighting. Got this light reflection here, but the roof lighting is fairly bland. There are no lights in the roof at all. So we're back airside now at dusk, inside what looks like the long departure lounge. The lighting is okay, but as you can see, so much here is not lit or not textured with respect to the lighting that exists inside the building. Everything looks pretty dark. Even the young lady in the distance there looks completely dark. And the same looking in the other direction there. That said, here I'm out on the apron. Here you can see we have centerline green taxiway lights, and the vehicles are lit as well, which is good. And here, looking at the terminal from airside, you can see you've got this slight illusion where you can see inside. It actually looks better at dusk. That looks quite nice. And the control tower here, and you've got the red light on the top. Another look at the other end of the terminal building there. Again, you've got the illusion where you can see through the glass here, and you've got the various shops. There's two fire trucks, nicely modelled. And there we are looking at the front. And while we're here, you're looking at the fuel tanker who's got his lights on at the back, and collision light, anti-collision light at the top, which is a mandatory requirement for all vehicles that operate airside. And there he is looking towards the vehicle at the front. You can see he's got his lights on. Normally this is flashing, but sometimes not every aircraft has, not every sort of vehicle airside has the light flashing, but they are required to have the orange anti-collision light on top of a vehicle. Every vehicle that operates airside at an airport must have what we call it an obstruction light. Some people refer to it as the anti-collision light, like on the aircraft, but basically it's an obstruction light that's either solid or mostly flashing. It's required on every vehicle. So let's go out here across the apron, head towards the runway, have a look at the lighting. Let's just go across the central bit here. No signage going into the runway itself here, no warning signs and no lighting, which is a pity. That really should be there. But as you can see, the runway is well lit. Here we are looking at approach lights on runway 09. This is the ILS equipped runway. As you can see, you've got the high intensity runway lighting system. This is version 1 that doesn't have the strobes. The identifier lights there, and you've got the lights, the green lights that help you reach the turning circle for takeoff there. But as you can see, precision approach path indicators are missing. And while we're here, just wanted to show you this. Here is the airport, of course, and here's the Landslide Car Park, and here is the road that actually ends in the scenery, but really should be there, and it goes along here like this, comes out onto the main highway, and this is the main highway that goes into the city, this in this southerly direction. So you've got the main city here out to the out here. And again, the highway, it's interesting, it's really nice and visible here, but it seems to stop here. I can only assume this is due to Bing data or the lack of data. But other than that, it looks okay. And looking back across the airport there's the lake I mentioned earlier. So here we are looking towards the west, looking towards runway 27. As you can see, they've equipped it, which I mean I think this is standard from a Sobo anyway. we've got the high intensity runway lighting system here. Actually, this runway in real life doesn't have this. It does have PAPIs, which are missing, as indeed are the PAPIs missing from the other end. But you've got one ILS equipped runway, so that's fine. And there's a nice view of the lake there. So there's a nice view of the apron, airside apron. Here we are, as I said, at dusk. The light is fading quite significantly. Let's go to darkness now. Let's go to night time and see what it looks like generally here. So here we are. It's just getting close to 8 o'clock local time in the evening. It's completely darkness. And you can see the area there is quite nicely lit. Let's have a look at the lead-in area from the runway, which usually is quite critical during the darkness hours. So here's the taxiway in from the main runway. As you can see, you've got green lights, but effectively stop right there. And here you should have runway warning signs, usually with flashing lights, but they should at least be lit. And most of the time you have stop bars here as well, but they're not in the scenery. Apart from that, the runway is quite nicely lit, and with your landing lights on you shouldn't have much of a problem locating the exit. That's looking at runway 9 threshold towards the west, and there towards the east, the runway 27. So as you can see, the airside ramp looks quite nice, the lighting is quite good. You've got these two main lights here that are providing a lot of light here, and they're actually lighting up the right area, so the light source is good. Building itself looks good. Nice to have these ramp vehicles equipped with lights at night, and they're working, which is good. So here's the terminal from airside looking inside the terminal. As you can see, you've got this ability still to see inside and have a look and see what it is. So here we are inside again at the top of the stairs, just to have another look. As you can see, they haven't really got the texturing and the reflections and everything done very well at the moment. With night time, you've got the inside is well lit, but really much of the detail here is missing because of the lack of attention. I hate to say it because I understand developers want to spend a certain amount of time, a certain price and so on, but you know, if you're going to develop the inside of a building, at least make a half decent job of it. This sort of stuff that's missing here really shouldn't be, and seating that's off the ground. I mean, this is so dark. You've got lighting and stuff out on the ramp and you really can't see hardly anything at all. You've got this one green centerline light that you can see, nothing else. So this really unfortunately hasn't been done very well. Looking at the landside terminal, it looks fine. Again, the minimum amount has been done. Looks quite acceptable. Would have been nice to see the curbside defined here, and also maybe one or two taxis or whatever. So here we are heading out towards the entrance. Road lighting, the road lighting is really quite nice. Done a lovely job here. Really can't understand why the inside of the terminal is so underdeveloped, and yet they've done a nice job here. Okay, this is where everything seems to end. And here are your entry gates, which are not lit at all, unfortunately. That's a real pity. And there's a look at the terminal and the fire station and the landside area generally at the night time, and looking at how the lighting looks. As you can see, out on the airside ramp, plenty of centerline lighting for parking. The main apron area is quite well lit. Runway itself is well lit. But as you can see here, the entrance and exit taxiway onto the main runway really is not that well lit at all. We're missing some lighting here, we're missing the warning signs, and we're missing the stop bars, which is a pity. So a quick look out towards the runway 09 threshold, which is there. and you've got the city in the distance and some nice sort of lighting, which presumably is the limit that Bing data can apply at the moment. So a quick look at dawn. It's just after 6:05 in the morning local time, and now you can see the airport's quite nicely, still has some lighting on it, and looks quite pleasant in the early morning sunrise. So final thoughts then. Let's look at the positives. We've got another Vietnamese airport. If I remember correctly, Da Nang is out as well. We've got another interesting little place to fly into in Asia. You've got freeware scenery for Bangkok, Thailand, payware, wonderful payware for Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur payware as well. So this is yet another place that you can fly to in Asia. It looks really good. The airport's fairly simple, but it has everything you need, notwithstanding the fact that the PAPIs are missing from both runways. Considering one runway is a VOR approach only, the PAPIs really are important. I'd like to see those added into the scenery. The detail is fine, is plenty. Everything you need as a pilot, notwithstanding the PAPIs, are here. The other important thing I think that is missing, certainly for night and dusk approaches, are the warning signs either side of the taxiway, the stop bars, and this taxiway really should be lit better. This should be joined up. You've got green lights, but they're not all joined up. This can be a critical point, considering there's only one exit and entry to the runway from the terminal area, and you might have a couple of aircraft there. So it's imperative, I think, to have the warning signs for the runway, which are mandatory, and the stop bars here. And the green lights should line up, they should match up here. Runway itself is very acceptable, no problems at all. As I said, I'd like to see them put the PAPIs back into both runways, and if they could, remove the high intensity lighting system from runway 27 up here. The airport itself is nicely done, a nice few little additions there. They've managed to complete the two buildings in nice detail. They've attempted to do the inside of the main terminal, but they really have only sort of done less than half a job, particularly with the lighting and the rendering and reflections. There are all sorts of strange anomalies going on inside there with the glass. But like I said, from a pilot's point of view, you're not going to worry too much about that. It's just a pity, because if you're going to do this, it's important, I think, that you carry the project through. Do I think it's worth it? Okay, I think the price maybe is just a little high, considering the anomalies, the things that are missing, and the anomalies we've looked at the moment. It's currently listed at €14.40. I'd like to see it at about 11 to 12 euros. It's probably worth about 12 euros, maybe 11 euros. They've done obviously a nice little job here, but there's an awful lot that they haven't done that's missing. And to be honest, if you're going to do it, do it. If you're not, then don't. Maybe that sounds a little harsh, I don't know. But like I said, on the plus side, it's a nice little airport. Yet another place that you can go and fly into in Asia. And I'm very happy to see this scenery. And hopefully the developer might look at this video possibly and might consider adding a couple of the important things. As I said, I'd like to see the precision approach path markers added to the scenery, and I'd like to see the taxiway onto and off the runway properly developed with the correct lighting. That would be important. If they manage to solve the issues with the terminal, with the rendering and the reflections, that would be nice. And possibly one other thing I'd like to add, I'd like to see the road from the airport out to the highway developed a little bit, so you can see, because Bing data certainly isn't providing it properly, and I don't think it would take too much to do that. But I like it. I bought this scenery. It wasn't sent to me for review. I bought it and paid for it, and I will fly in here at some point. So this is Lee, wishing everybody a Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me on another review, yet another Asian airport for you to look at and enjoy. Hope you've had a great Christmas and New Year, and let's hope 2022 is better. Get this COVID thing sorted out of the way. Thank you to all the people who've subscribed to my channel, new and old. Guys, thank you very much. I'm really hoping to build up subscribers. and then start thinking about merchandise and other things like that. This is Lee, Virtual Airline Pilot, saying thank you again for joining me on yet another review. I'm going to say bye for now, and I'll see you in the next review. Bye bye, take care.